Sleep is a universal experience, one that every human and nearly every animal requires to survive. Yet, despite its familiarity, sleep remains one of biology's most fascinating mysteries. What is clear, however, is that sleep is not simply a passive state of rest, but a dynamic period during which the body and brain perform vital processes essential for health. Among these, one of the most crucial is the support and maintenance of the immune system, a relationship that science continues to explore. To understand why sleep and immunity are so closely linked, it helps to first consider what sleep actually is and how it is regulated in the body. Sleep is not a uniform block of stillness, but a complex, active process that unfolds in cycles throughout the night. These cycles are orchestrated by a delicate interplay between two systems: the circadian rhythm, our internal biological clock that signals when it is time to be awake or asleep, and the homeostatic sleep drive, which builds up the longer we stay awake and creates the urge to sleep. Source 9. This regulation is managed by specific brain structures, particularly in the hypothalamus, which acts as a command center, telling the rest of the body when to wind down and when to wake up. Source 6. But why do we need sleep at all? Science shows that sleep serves several vital purposes, from conserving energy to repairing the body's tissues and maintaining healthy brain function. During sleep, especially in certain stages such as deep non-rapid eye movement sleep, the brain carries out essential housekeeping, clearing out waste products, consolidating memories, and recalibrating its networks. Sources 6, 8, 10. For the body, sleep is a time of cellular repair and restoration, when muscles and tissues are rebuilt and growth hormones are released. Most relevant to our discussion, sleep is also fundamentally involved in supporting the immune system. Sources 6, 7, 8, 10. The immune system itself is a marvel of biological engineering, a vast network of cells, tissues, and organs spread throughout the body, all dedicated to a single vital goal: protecting us from disease. Sources 12, 13. At its core, the immune system is tasked with distinguishing between what is self and what is non-self. In other words, identifying which cells and substances belong to the body and which are invaders that must be neutralized or destroyed. Source 12. This responsibility falls to a cast of specialized actors, including white blood cells, antibodies, and the lymphatic system, each with its own unique role in detecting, remembering, and eliminating threats. Source 14. The immune system operates on two main fronts. The first is the innate immune response, a rapid reaction force that responds quickly and broadly to any sign of infection or injury. The second is the adaptive immune response, which is slower to activate but much more precise, using memory of past encounters to target specific pathogens with tailored weapons. Source 11. This immunological memory is the reason why, once you have recovered from certain infections, you are less likely to get sick from the same bug again. The immune system's ability to learn and adapt is one of its most remarkable features and is essential for long-term health. Source 14. So, where does sleep come into this picture? Researchers have found that sleep and the immune system are deeply intertwined, with a relationship that runs in both directions, a concept known as bidirectional crosstalk. Sources 1, 2, 19. On one hand, sleep supports the immune system's ability to function effectively. On the other, immune activity, especially during illness, can alter our patterns of sleep, often leading to increased sleepiness and changes in sleep architecture. Sources 4:24. One of the clearest signs of this relationship is something most people have experienced firsthand. When we are sick, we tend to sleep more. This is not just coincidence. During infection, the body releases signaling molecules called cytokines, such as interleukin-1 beta, IL-1 beta, and tumor necrosis factor, TNF. These cytokines not only help coordinate the immune response, but also play a direct role in regulating sleep itself. Source 24. They signal the brain to promote deeper, more restorative sleep, which in turn supports the body's efforts to fight off infection. Conversely, when sleep is disrupted or insufficient, the immune system's effectiveness can be compromised. Studies summarized by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and other research bodies show that people who do not get enough sleep are more likely to get sick after being exposed to a virus, and that chronic sleep loss can impair the body's ability to recover from illness. Sources 7, 10. The mechanisms behind this are complex, but they involve changes in the production and activity of various immune cells and molecules. For example, sleep loss can reduce the number of natural killer cells, an important part of the innate immune response, and alter the balance of cytokines, making the body less prepared to defend against pathogens. Source 5. The relationship is not just one way. The immune system can also influence how we sleep. During an infection, the release of cytokines and other immune factors alters the architecture of sleep, often increasing the proportion of deep, non-rapid eye movement sleep and reducing the amount of rapid eye movement sleep. Sources 424. This shift is thought to help the body conserve energy and direct resources toward fighting infection and healing damaged tissues. Both anecdotal observations and research support this phenomenon, highlighting how finely tuned the connection between sleep and immunity truly is. Source 4. It is important to note that while much has been learned about the interplay between sleep and immune function, there are still gaps in our understanding. Researchers continue to investigate exactly how different stages of sleep, such as rapid eye movement and non-rapid eye movement, contribute to specific aspects of immune defense and how chronic disruptions in sleep might influence the long-term risk of immune-related diseases. However, what is clear from current knowledge is that healthy sleep is a cornerstone of a well-functioning immune system. The implications of this relationship are profound for daily life and long-term health. Sleep is not just a luxury or a passive escape from the demands of the day. It is an indispensable process that keeps the immune system vigilant, responsive, and adaptable. Without sufficient and good quality sleep, the immune system's ability to protect us, repair damage, and remember past threats is diminished. In sum, the foundations of sleep and immunity are built on a dynamic, reciprocal relationship. Sleep shapes the immune system's readiness and resilience, while the immune system, in turn, can alter the need and pattern for sleep, especially in times of illness. Each night, as we surrender to sleep, we are not just resting, we are engaging in a vital act of biological maintenance, one that fortifies the very defenses that keep us safe from the unseen hazards of the world. This interplay, refined over millennia of evolution, underscores a simple but powerful truth. To care for our bodies and to maintain the silent shield that is our immune system, we must honor the need for sleep. In the chapters ahead, we will delve deeper into the science behind this relationship, exploring how sleep and immunity shape each other in health and in disease, and what practical steps can be taken to support both. For now, it is enough to recognize that every restful night is an investment in our body's enduring strength and resilience. As the body drifts into sleep, a remarkable choreography unfolds beneath the surface, one that quietly shapes the very nature of our immune defenses. While sleep may appear passive, the internal landscape is anything but idle. Each night, the immune system is subtly recalibrated and fortified, ensuring the body is ready to confront the microbial world come morning. Science now paints a vivid picture. Sleep is not merely restorative for the mind, but actively curates the strength, agility, and memory of the immune system itself. Research has revealed that sleep, along with circadian rhythms, orchestrates the timing and distribution of key immune players. For example, T cells, essential sentinels of the adaptive immune response, undergo a nightly redistribution, migrating to lymph nodes and other tissues where their actions are most strategic. This movement is not random, but appears to be regulated by the body's internal clock and the act of sleeping itself. Such targeted deployment ensures the immune system is poised for rapid response, whether detecting a novel intruder or mounting a defense against a familiar foe. Central to this process is the production of cytokines, the chemical messengers that coordinate immune communication. Studies show that sleep promotes the synthesis of certain protective cytokines, while sleep loss can suppress their levels and increase those associated with unwanted inflammation. Cytokines signal immune cells to sites of infection and injury, but their role extends further. They help direct the nature of the immune response, influencing whether the body launches a swift innate attack or calls upon the precision of adaptive immunity. The nightly ebb and flow of cytokine production is thus intimately tied to the architecture of sleep itself. Looking deeper, evidence shows that good quality sleep supports not only mature immune cells, but also the very progenitors from which these cells arise. Hematopoietic stem cells, the source of all blood and immune cells, are influenced by sleep's restorative powers. When sleep is sound, these stem cells are more effectively produced and programmed, ensuring a steady supply of monocytes and other frontline defenders. This means the benefits of sleep ripple through every tier of the immune hierarchy, from the most primitive stem cell to the specialized sentinels that patrol our tissues. The quality and duration of sleep have very real consequences for health outcomes. Studies demonstrate that inadequate or fragmented sleep can make individuals more susceptible to illness, in part because the production and function of immune cells are compromised. This vulnerability is evident in how people respond to vaccinations. Those who sleep well in the days around a vaccine tend to generate a more robust and lasting antibody response. The implication is clear. Beyond simply feeling rested, sleep actively primes the immune system for challenges both expected and unforeseen. Particularly fascinating is the way sleep stages contribute to immune defense. Non-rapid eye movement and rapid eye movement sleep, often discussed in terms of their cognitive and psychological benefits, also play unique roles in immune regulation. During non-rapid eye movement sleep, especially its deepest phases, the body appears to prioritize the redistribution of immune cells and the enhancement of certain cytokine profiles. Rapid eye movement sleep, in turn, may be involved in fine-tuning the balance of immune activity, though the precise mechanisms remain an area of ongoing research. These nightly cycles are not trivial. They are the biological equivalent of a shift change, ensuring the immune system's arsenal is replenished and recalibrated before the next day begins. When sleep is disrupted or cut short, the consequences are swift and measurable. Research indicates that even short-term sleep deprivation can reduce the activity of natural killer cells, key players in the body's first line of defense, and dampen the production of protective cytokines. Meanwhile, levels of inflammatory cytokines rise, nudging the body toward a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation that can undermine health over time. The production of antibodies in response to infection or vaccination is also diminished, leaving the body less equipped to remember and repel future threats. In essence, sleep deprivation does not merely make people feel tired, it undercuts the immune system's capacity to function at its peak. The interplay between sleep and immune memory is perhaps one of the most intriguing frontiers in this field. Just as the brain consolidates memories of experiences and learning during sleep, so too does the immune system refine its recollection of microbial encounters. This process, known as immunological memory consolidation, is supported by evidence that the very architecture of sleep, most notably slow-wave sleep, facilitates the transfer and integration of immune information. After exposure to a pathogen or a vaccine, immune cells undergo a process of selection and maturation, with sleep providing the optimal conditions for this intricate work. The result is a more robust, targeted, and lasting immune response the next time the same threat appears. Scientists have drawn compelling parallels between the consolidation of psychological and immunological memory during sleep. The strengthening of adaptive immune responses, those that rely on remembering specific pathogens, mirrors the way sleep supports long-term memory in the brain. It is during sleep that the immune system processes the lessons of the day, encoding which invaders have been seen before and how best to neutralize them in the future. This dual role for sleep supporting both cognitive and immune memory speaks to its fundamental importance across the spectrum of health. Research also highlights the influence of circadian rhythms, our internal clocks, on immune signaling pathways. The timing of sleep and wakefulness sets the stage for when immune cells are most active, when cytokines are produced, and how inflammatory responses are regulated. Misalignment of these rhythms, such as through shift work or frequent travel across time zones, can disrupt these finely tuned processes and may increase vulnerability to infection and inflammatory disease. The body's ability to anticipate and prepare for challenges is, in part, a function of its adherence to these natural cycles. Animal studies lend further insight into the consequences of sleep deprivation for immune regulation. When sleep is restricted, there is a measurable increase in certain immune cells such as neutrophils, which can drive systemic inflammation. This state of heightened inflammation may have short-term benefits in confronting acute threats, but over the long term, it is thought to contribute to a host of chronic conditions. The balance between immune readiness and restraint, it seems, is delicately managed by the presence and quality of sleep. The implications of these discoveries reach far beyond the laboratory. In practical terms, promoting healthy sleep habits emerges as a powerful means of strengthening immune defenses. Good sleep encourages the production of T cells and cytokines, supports the programming of stem cells, and primes the body's antibody response. For those seeking to enhance their resilience, whether against seasonal viruses or in response to vaccination, the evidence strongly suggests that sleep is a critical ally. Despite these advances, many details remain under active investigation. Scientists continue to explore the exact ways in which different sleep stages interact with immune signaling and how chronic sleep disruption shapes long-term risk for autoimmune or inflammatory disease. The field is dynamic, with each new study adding nuance to our understanding of how deeply intertwined sleep and immunity truly are. What is now clear is that sleep is not simply the absence of wakefulness, it is a period of intense biological activity, crucial for the maintenance and optimization of immune function. Each night, as the world quiets and consciousness recedes, the immune system seizes the opportunity to regroup, to remember, and to prepare for whatever challenges may come. In this nightly ritual, the foundations of health are quietly, powerfully reinforced, one night and one immune cell at a time. Imagine, for a moment, the body as a vast, bustling city whose protective forces, the immune system, work tirelessly to keep the peace. Now, picture what might happen if the city's power supply flickers unpredictably or the lights go out for long stretches. This is the predicament our immune defenses face when sleep is disrupted or chronically insufficient. The consequences are not merely theoretical, they unfold in measurable, sometimes dramatic, ways within the body's internal landscape. Scientific investigations have begun to reveal the depth of these effects, exposing a sobering reality. The cost of sleep disruption is paid not just in fatigue or moodiness, but in a tangible weakening of our immune fortifications. The evidence is compelling. Even a single night of poor sleep can alter the immune system's architecture. Researchers have found that after just one day of sleep deprivation, the composition and activity of immune cells shift noticeably. This rapid change includes a spike in certain white blood cell populations, as if the body is bracing for an emergency. It is a response reminiscent of how the immune system reacts to acute physical stress, such as injury or infection. The problem is, this emergency response is unsustainable. When the body is routinely deprived of sleep, these temporary measures give way to longer-lasting changes: chronic low-grade inflammation, impaired immune vigilance, and a landscape more prone to disease. Chronic sleep deprivation sets in motion a cascade of immune alterations. Over time, the immune system becomes deregulated, losing its finely tuned balance. The body's inflammatory machinery, meant to be called into action only when needed, begins to hum in the background more persistently. Markers of inflammation rise in the bloodstream even without infection or injury. This state of chronic inflammation is not benign. It is a known contributor to a host of diseases, from cardiovascular conditions to metabolic disorders. The immune system, once a precise instrument, grows blunt, and the consequences ripple outward. One of the most immediate and well-documented risks of disrupted sleep is an increased susceptibility to infection. Large-scale studies tracking thousands of individuals have shown that people with consistently poor sleep patterns face a higher risk of being hospitalized for infections. The connection is not limited to severe sleep deprivation. Even moderate reductions in sleep or irregular sleep schedules can tip the scales. The risk appears to be bidirectional. Both too little and too much sleep may signal underlying immune dysfunction, raising the likelihood of falling ill. The exact mechanisms are still under investigation, but it is clear that the immune system's ability to fend off pathogens is intimately tied to how well and how consistently we sleep. In the context of chronic inflammatory diseases, the story grows even more complex. Poor sleep is not merely a symptom of conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or inflammatory bowel disease. It may also play a role in their development and progression. Studies have linked chronic sleep deficiency and insomnia to an increased risk of autoimmune diseases. In these conditions, the immune system turns its arsenal against the body's own tissues, mistaking friend for foe. The relationship appears to be more than coincidence. Researchers have observed that prolonged sleep deprivation can disrupt the natural rhythm of cortisol, a hormone that helps regulate both sleep and immune function. As cortisol rhythms falter, the immune system's checks and balances are thrown off, increasing the likelihood of autoimmunity and intensifying the pain and inflammation associated with these diseases. Delving deeper into the workings of immune defense, scientists have found that poor sleep can alter the very stem cells from which immune cells are born. Chronic sleep loss has been shown to restructure these immune stem cells, steering them toward a state that favors inflammation over repair. These changes may persist, setting the stage for long-term health consequences that extend well beyond immediate susceptibility to infection. Inflammatory disorders, heart disease, and even certain cancers have all been linked to the persistent immune activation that arises from inadequate or fragmented sleep. Importantly, the impact of sleep disruption is not limited to the development of disease. It also impairs the body's ability to recover from illness or injury. When sleep is regularly disturbed by stress, pain, or environmental factors, the immune system's capacity to mount a robust defense or repair damaged tissues is diminished. Studies suggest that individuals recovering from clinical illness or surgery fare worse when their sleep is poor, experiencing slower healing and a higher risk of complications. The immune system, deprived of its nightly recalibration, cannot perform at its peak. This pattern extends to the realm of autoimmunity with striking clarity. Large-scale studies have established a link between insomnia and an increased risk for a variety of autoimmune diseases, including those that target the joints, skin, and nervous system. Insomnia appears to fuel the fires of systemic inflammation, raising markers that signal heightened immune activity against the self. This connection is particularly pronounced in autoimmune rheumatic diseases, where poor sleep is associated not only with greater inflammation, but also with increased pain and disability. The cycle can become self-perpetuating. Disease disrupts sleep, and sleep disruption exacerbates disease. It is not only adults who bear this burden. Sleep problems are common in those living with chronic inflammatory diseases across the lifespan, compounding the challenges of managing these conditions. The interplay between sleep quality and immune health is complex, but the message is unmistakable. Restorative sleep is essential not just for disease prevention, but for effective disease management and recovery. The question of how much sleep is too little and how much is too much remains an active area of research. What is clear is that both extremes are linked to a greater risk of infection and immune-related disease. The reasons for this are not fully understood, but the disruption of normal immune rhythms, whether from chronic deprivation or excessive sleep, appears to undermine the body's equilibrium. Sleep hygiene, or the practice of maintaining regular and healthy sleep habits, emerges as a practical and powerful tool for supporting immune health. Simple practices, such as keeping a consistent sleep schedule and creating a restful environment, may help restore the balance so critical to immune resilience. The consequences of sleep disruption unfold quietly at first, often overshadowed by the more visible symptoms of fatigue or irritability. Yet beneath the surface, the immune system is recalibrating, sometimes in ways that leave the body more vulnerable to infection, slower to recover, and at greater risk for chronic or autoimmune disease. The science is still evolving, and important questions remain about the precise pathways linking sleep and immunity. What is beyond doubt, however, is the necessity of sleep for the protection, repair, and regulation that underpin health at every level. As the city of the body hums through its nightly cycles of rest and restoration, the cost of turning off the lights even briefly becomes clear. Sleep disruption is more than an inconvenience. It is a hidden threat to the immune system's delicate choreography. The evidence, gathered from cells and cohorts alike, urges a renewed respect for sleep as a pillar of resilience, defense, and healing. Imagine preparing for sleep as you would for a journey, mapping out your route, gathering what you need, and setting off with intention. Healthy sleep, it turns out, is not simply a matter of biology or luck, but the result of deliberate, everyday choices that ripple through the body's defenses. As scientific understanding is deepened, so has the recognition that sleep and immune resilience are shaped by practical habits and routines. The encouraging news is that the path toward restorative sleep and stronger immunity is paved with simple, evidence-based strategies accessible to nearly everyone. At the heart of these strategies lies the principle of regularity. Studies compiled by leading health organizations highlight the value of a consistent sleep schedule, not only for feeling rested, but for keeping the immune system vigilant. Going to bed and waking up at the same time each day, even on weekends, helps anchor the body's internal clock. This consistency sends powerful signals to every cell and organ, priming the immune system for optimal functioning. While it can be tempting to catch up on sleep after a late night, research from University of California Health and others shows that catching up does not fully reverse the immune consequences of lost sleep. Instead, consistency is the true ally of both sleep quality and immune strength. Equally important is the environment in which we sleep. The bedroom serves as a sanctuary, and small adjustments can have significant effects. Practical guidance from the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Health recommends a cool, quiet, and dark room to encourage the natural progression of sleep cycles. Removing electronic devices, which emit blue light that can disrupt the body's circadian signals, is especially helpful. Blackout curtains, eye masks, or white noise machines can further enhance the space, creating a buffer against disturbances that might fragment sleep. These environmental tweaks are not about perfection, but about improving the odds of deeper, less interrupted rest, a state where immune recalibration thrives. Beyond the bedroom, daily habits play a pivotal role. Physical activity stands out as a gentle yet effective promoter of sleep, as research reviewed by MD Anderson and others shows. Regular exercise, even in modest amounts, can make it easier to fall asleep and stay asleep, though it is best scheduled earlier in the day. Late-night workouts may be invigorating, but they can make the transition to sleep more difficult. Similarly, the timing of meals and caffeine matters. Heavy or spicy dinners close to bedtime, or a late afternoon cup of coffee may interfere with the body's natural descent into sleep. Experts advise finishing meals several hours before bed and avoiding caffeine at least 6 hours prior to sleep onset. For many, the challenge is not falling asleep, but quieting the mind. Worries and mental lists can easily crowd out sleep's gentle rhythm. Evidence-based recommendations from the Mayo Clinic and University of California Health suggest setting aside time in the evening to process concerns, writing them down, or planning the next day before entering the bedroom. Mindfulness practices, such as deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation, can also help ease the transition from wakefulness to sleep. While these techniques may seem simple, studies indicate they can significantly reduce the time it takes to fall asleep and improve overall sleep quality, with downstream benefits for immune regulation. Sleep hygiene, a term that encompasses these habits and routines, is more than a checklist. It is a holistic approach to nurturing sleep and, in turn, immune health. Harvard Health and the National Sleep Foundation both emphasize that good sleep hygiene includes not just nighttime habits, but the rhythm of the entire day. Exposure to natural light in the morning helps reinforce circadian cues, while winding down with calming activities in the evening signals to the brain that it is time to shift gears. For those who struggle with sleep, behavioral interventions like cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, also known as CBTI, have been shown to be effective, according to reviews in the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. These approaches, which focus on changing unhelpful thoughts and behaviors around sleep, can improve both sleep duration and quality over time. The science also offers reassurance for those who occasionally struggle. A single restless night does not undo all progress, nor does it spell disaster for immune defenses. Patterns matter more than isolated episodes. However, chronic difficulties do warrant attention, as the cumulative effects can gradually erode both sleep health and immune resilience. In these cases, seeking support, sometimes from sleep specialists who may recommend additional behavioral or medical interventions, is important. While much of the advice is straightforward, individual circumstances vary. Shift workers, for example, face unique challenges due to irregular hours and frequent circadian disruption. Research acknowledges these difficulties, and practical suggestions for this group include using blackout curtains to simulate nighttime during daytime sleep and maintaining as regular a schedule as possible, even on days off. For travelers crossing time zones, gradually adjusting bedtime a few days before departure and seeking morning light at the destination may help reset biological rhythms. Another common challenge is the presence of sleep-disrupting substances. Alcohol, while sometimes used as a sleep aid, can fragment sleep and blunt its restorative effects, according to several practical guides. Medications, medical conditions, and even certain over-the-counter remedies may also interfere with healthy sleep architecture. Whenever possible, reviewing these factors with a healthcare provider can clarify what is within one's control and what may need adjustment. Importantly, healthy sleep and immune support are not isolated goals. Many of the behaviors that promote one also enhance the other. Regular exercise, balanced nutrition, stress management, and thoughtful use of technology all work together to create a resilient body and mind. The National Sleep Foundation emphasizes the importance of prioritizing sleep as a core pillar of health, on par with diet and physical activity, especially when it comes to immune readiness. For parents and caregivers, helping children and adolescents develop good sleep habits is especially important, since these years are a time of rapid immune development. Consistent routines, a calming pre-bedtime ritual, and a screen-free wind-down period can set the stage for lifelong health. The same principles apply throughout life, though the details may need to be adapted as needs change with age. Sometimes, despite best efforts, sleep remains elusive. In such instances, it helps to remember that the pursuit of healthy sleep is a process, not a single achievement. Trying different strategies, observing what works, and being patient with oneself are all part of the journey. The research is clear. Significant gains in both sleep quality and immune function are possible through small, sustained changes. As this chapter draws to a close, the message from decades of sleep and immune research is both pragmatic and hopeful. While the science continues to evolve, the core principles are well established. Regularity, environment, routine, and self-care matter deeply. By shaping daily life with intention, anyone can support their body's natural defenses night after night. The journey to better sleep and stronger immunity is not about perfection, but about practicing these strategies with curiosity and commitment. In doing so, we give ourselves the greatest gift, the chance to wake each day not only rested, but resilient.